Can you believe that we're a mere 3 months away from E3 2019? It's going to be a weird one, and if rumors are to be believed, the upcoming expo is going to all be about Microsoft as they take bold swings to win back a decent chunk of their lost market share and possibly change gaming for the better. It helps, of course, that Sony have ruled themselves out completely and that EA aren't doing a conventional press conference. Like I said, it's going to be a very strange year. Elsewhere, various sequels and reboots are likely to be announced, of course, and fingers and toes are certainly crossed that some of E3's more conspicuous absentees from recent years will finally be unveiled. As the final proper E3 of the current generation, well, probably, it's sure to be one of nodding to the future while sewing up the present, and it could be one of the most exciting shows of the last few years. I'm Josh from WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 early predictions for E3 2019. Number 10, Watch Dogs 3 revealed for late 2019, set in London. Persistent rumors have been suggesting that Ubisoft is hard at work on the third entry into the Watch Dogs franchise, and if word on the street is true, it'll be releasing before the end of 2019. That's easy to believe considering that Watch Dogs 2 hit stores in late 2016, so about this October or November after a huge E3 blowout seems about right. And there have also been some convincing murmurs that the game will see a major shift of setting from North America to the UK, with Watch Dogs 3 reportedly transpiring from London and therefore focusing less on shootouts and more on the actual hacking. This should certainly give the game a unique style and tone, though with the sillier second entry launching below commercial expectations, it is possible that this threequel will return to the grittier mood of the first entry, but good lord, do I hope it doesn't. Either way, if this isn't at E3, it would be a huge shock. Number 9, Ubisoft revives Splinter Cell and/or Prince of Persia. Splinter Cell fans for years have been hoping and praying that Ubisoft might resurrect the dormant stealth franchise, which went on a sabbatical after 2013's Blacklist was a commercial disappointment. There have been consistent rumors and leaks about a new Splinter Cell game for many years now, with many fans shocked that the franchise wasn't reintroduced last E3. We've been saying this every year for a while now, but this really feels like the right time for Sam Fisher to come back into the fold, hopefully voiced by Michael Ironside once again. Less likely, but still quite probable, is the reintroduction of Prince of Persia, a potential filled IP which has been sitting on the bench since 2010's indifferently received The Forgotten Sands. Given the popularity of open world games at present, an Assassin's Creed-esque retooling of the franchise could be a massive hit if it's done right. While it's much less of a sure thing than Splinter Cell, its re-emergence would also surprise few. It just makes sense. Number 8, the Avengers project is revealed. Square Enix's The Avengers project was first announced by way of a snazzy teaser trailer back in January 2017, and over 2 years later, we've still not seen a single scrap of gameplay. Fans have been expecting it to show at every subsequent E3, and in this case, the third time will most likely be the charm. The game, widely expected to be a multiplayer action title with games as service elements, will probably be unveiled in the company's usual Nintendo Direct style VOD at E3, firmly putting fans out of their misery once and for all. As for whether it's actually going to look any good or not, it's tough to say either way with Square Enix these days, but it'll probably be a cross-gen title with impressive graphics, that's for sure. Number 7, Nintendo announces the new Switch model. One of the most persistent and believable rumors of the last few months is that Nintendo has been developing a new version of the Switch intended to offer up a better screen, a smaller design for greater comfort, and also improved Wi-Fi functionality. Whether it's called the Switch XL or the Switch Pro or something else entirely, releasing it shortly after a potential Xbox Game Pass announcement makes a ton of sense, especially if it indeed includes enhanced Wi-Fi. Every semi-credible leak points to the revision landing in the second half of 2019, probably just in time for the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield. But Nintendo being Nintendo, they probably won't bother fixing the head-smackingly awful placement of the USB-C port. Please, just figure it out. Number 6, Need for Speed is back. Again. It's painfully clear that EA has no idea what to do with Need for Speed, as evidenced by the mediocrity of the last 2 games, which pretty much came and went without a peep. But Need for Speed is a brand name, and so it's tough to imagine it sitting still for too long, especially with the last AAA title releasing almost 18 months ago, practically in age for the standards of this series. So don't be remotely surprised if E3 announces another quasi-reboot of the franchise which attempts to shift away from the always online and microtransaction-heavy nature of the last few games. EA being EA, they'll definitely still find a way to monetize it, though hopefully it might be a little less intrusive than what they've tried to get away with in the past. There's no guarantee that another franchise resurrection will work. After all, a lot of racing fans are still hoping for a new Burnout game, but they're not going to stop trying anytime soon. Number 5. Ubisoft debuts their new Avatar game. Okay, so I'm not saying anyone actually wants this one to happen, but Ubisoft have confirmed a good while ago that they're working on a game based on James Cameron's Avatar, with development being handled by Massive Entertainment, the guys in charge of The Division. With the publisher also confirming that the game won't see the light of day until fiscal year 2021, that is April 1st, 2020 at the earliest, a glossy reveal at E3 seems more or less like the right time to start banging the drum for this title. After all, with Cameron's second Avatar movie due to land in late 2020, though who knows at this point, it would certainly be time to start ramping up the PR campaign and let everyone know that yep, Avatar still exists and some people out there, I guess, are still excited for it. Number 4. Fable 4 is revealed. It's one of the worst kept secrets in gaming that a fourth Fable is in development, with various leaks reporting that the long-awaited sequel is being helmed by Forza Horizon devs Playground Games. And though the game is said to be fairly early on in development, dropping even a simple logo tease would be a great way to drum up hype and get people talking about the brand again. After all, Fable Legends' cancellation in 2016 left many fans crestfallen and concerned for the series' future, so even if there's no gameplay ready to show yet, confirming Fable 4's existence would not be a bad thing. I mean, what else has Microsoft got on their slate at the moment? Number 3, Dino Crisis gets a reboot. You can file this one under a mega long shot, but with the recent commercial success of Resident Evil 2, could Capcom be digging into their coffers to produce a remake of another classic PS1 survival horror romp? Dino Crisis is one of the most beloved horror games of its era, though the series went into hibernation after 2003's Dino Crisis 3 was a critical and commercial failure. Still, fans have been begging for a sequel or a remake ever since, and given how both brilliant the RE engine is and how much people love the 90s and dinosaurs, this thing would probably fly off the shelves. Nobody's saying it needs to have the budget of a Resident Evil game, but there's certainly an audience of loyal fans who would love to see the classic survival horror game in glorious 4K. It could happen, but it probably won't. Capcom are probably too focused on Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil 7 to care about this, but please guys, just give me this one win. Number 2, the Xbox Scarlett is formally unveiled. Alright, this is it. This is the big one. Microsoft will end their conference by formally revealing their Xbox Scarlett next-gen platform. Boom! Invoice me for the mic, that old rock and roll, etc, etc. Whatever it's eventually called, Scarlett will consist of 2 models, a streaming-centric device and a more conventional high-spec console, and be dated for a holiday 2020 release. The early announcement worked well for the Xbox One X, all things considered, so this isn't a bad strategy to get ahead of Sony's PS5 launch, especially if they've got the messaging and, yes, the games to back it up. It's definitely possible that Microsoft holds off for their own stage later this year, but given that Sony aren't at E3, it'd feel like a huge missed opportunity to not take full advantage of that by confirming Scarlett, even if the hardware design and the specs aren't quite finalized yet. Number 1, Cyberpunk 2077 is dated for February 2020. We already know that CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077 will be at E3, but in addition to unveiling some more gameplay, it feels like the right time for the sci-fi actioner to finally drop a release date. It's still probably a little while off, but early 2020 makes sense given the clearly advanced state it appears to be in, and this would also allow it to be a cross-generation platform with next-gen systems. It's totally possible that this doesn't happen and fans are left waiting until the end of the year or even further for a date, but there's a point in the next-gen life cycle where it won't really be feasible to release Cyberpunk on PS4 and Xbox One, and they'll want to make sure that they don't cross that threshold. Again, this is all assuming that next-gen consoles are coming next year, which, come on, they totally are. So that's our list. I know you guys think down in the comments below. How far off base am I with these early E3 predictions, and what are yours? Are you looking forward to potentially a brand new console from Microsoft, and will Sony keep as quiet as they say they're going to be? Either way, while you're there, could you give us a like, share, subscribe, and head over to WhatCulture.com for more listening news like this every single day. Even if you don't, though, I've been Josh, you've been watching What Culture, and I'll see you soon. Bye.